All right, we're good. Yeah, it was something OBS. I'm not sure what was wrong. Uh, yeah, the stream's at 24 frames per second. Um, but yeah, that looked more like 10 or 15. You loved the BLM narrative. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I've been really pleased with the response to that. It seems like people on the far left and the far right have liked it, and black people seem to like it, which is a good sign. Yeah, so I'm pretty pleased with myself. Make sub notifications on screen. I don't want to do that. I don't think that's a good idea. Um, I know that's going to decrease my revenue significantly, possibly, but I I I I feel like it's going to kind of screw up what I'm trying to do here, and what I'm trying to do with like Twitch in general. So I think I'm going to have no notifications. I think I did add some emotes. They're not animated yet, though. I haven't made those. Am I still afraid I might be Steven Crowder? Yeah. I'm always afraid of being Steven Crowder. Yeah, I'm not gonna do any on-screen notifications. I'm just, yeah. See, look at that shit. Here's the emotes. Um, yeah, you got the Mrs. Boy emote. Hi, Lord, baby, 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 or baby, as I call you. Tried showing your gender narrative video to my girlfriend. Did not go super great. She freaked out about the makeup thing. She likes makeup. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say, like, I love your videos, but I can't show them to anyone. Or they try to show them to their loved ones, and it makes them freak out. Just, you know, just try again. Keep showing it to her. Please do more intimate interviews. I love the viewer call-ins. That's what we're doing right now. That's what the stream is. Advice and confessions with Mr. Girl. Vosh, if Vosh wants to call in with a confession, or I have a lot of advice for Vosh, I'd be happy to have him call in. Never stop talking to Destiny. I have no plans to stop talking to Destiny. I do think that we're at a phase of our relationship, though, where it's good for me to kind of float off on my own, like the damaged little duckling that I am. But yeah, I'll always keep in touch with Destiny. If you show a friend Mr. Girl content and they react negatively, they aren't your friend anymore. I I know you're joking. I showed your videos to a friend of mine who at first was weirded out, but after watching the BLM narrative, he really got the point of what you're trying to do. That's good. I called into Tommy C's stream on YouTube today, and it went horribly. I think. Well, I mean, he called me creepy, and I called in, and I was like, "Yeah, like I am kind of creepy." And he was like, "Okay, but so are you like joking?" And I was like, "No, I am actually kind of creepy." And then he was like, "Well, I don't understand. I'm like, you think you're smarter than me, or what the fuck are you doing? I think you're joking. It's like some Andy Kaufman shit." And I was like, "No, this is really happening." At some point, he was like, "That's a red flag," and I said, "My channel is a museum of red flags." And he just like couldn't accept that like I wasn't joking. It was really it was a strange conversation. One of my biggest supporters, Vito, is getting slayed out on Twitter this week. But only by himself. I think Vito definitely is pouring gasoline on the fire. And I don't know why he especially because in the we filmed a biggest problem episode like that same day he started doing that, and I told him I think he should stop doing that on Twitter. Not that it's like bad to be provocative, but I feel like he doesn't really enjoy it that much, and it just seems like kind of terrible for him. Has there been stuff I've learned from other streamers? E I've learned to be careful. I've learned I'm learning to understand like the meta game that's happening here, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I wouldn't say I quite understand yet. Okay. Mr. Beast Rising. I know you're calling me Mr. Beast, but there is already a Mr. Beast. He gives money to homeless people and then films them crying. Although you could say that this show is somewhat similar to that, but I like to think it's somewhat less exploitative. Although it is inherently exploitative to have people call in and talk about their feelings. Maybe Mr. Beast is just the most honest of all of us. All right. You just gotta understand team sports. It's a learning cold war between Vosh and Destiny. It's all connected. Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand it. But yeah, Vosh, if you hear this, I'm ready to chat whenever you are. Good faith. All right. I'm in the confessional. Baby, I'm ready when you are. Let's get our first person. I'm gonna hide the chat during these as well. But yeah, I'll read any donations at the end, or if we have a lull, I'll probably check on the chat between callers. Sock Rabbit, we've talked before. Oh wait, shit. Wait, fuck. Hold on. Don't say anything. I can't hear you. Okay, can you talk now?
Hello.
Hello. Okay. All
Should I just
right.
say the
What?
thing? Should I just go ahead and ask, or I don't know? My
Okay, are
question.
you were you the first caller in the last stream?
I think I was like the second.
Okay,
Um.
and you said you were too nervous to talk.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're back.
I am back.
You're ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Um.
What do you want to talk about?
Um. So, I'm somebody who usually doesn't have like boundaries in my relationships with people.
Okay.
I'm quick to like dismiss my emotions, and I'm trying. How do you know when you need to actually make space for your emotions versus when you're like just trying to take up space like too much?
What would be taking up space too much?
Uh, like being an ass. Um, like um, I mean, do you know what I mean? Or
Kind of. You're saying just somebody who talks about themselves all the time and just like is super self-involved and goes into hysterics every time they get upset, like that.
like they're just not really taking the other person into consideration, like they might want or whatever. Um, just kind of like overstepping. Like I don't know, people say that to me. Like they tell me that I'm unempathetic or that I'm an asshole sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't really feel like I know uh, when I'm doing that or not.
Yeah, because you can't trust them really, unless like everybody. But even if everybody says it, they could all just be saying that. Do you want to? Okay, you're looking for like some kind of barometer on whether you're taking up too much space or whether you need to actually keep taking up more space.
Yeah, or I guess yeah,
Okay,
uh,
do you want to talk
yeah.
specifics? Like
Sure.
what happened or what is happening?
Oh, I don't know if I don't know if I can think of I don't know if I can actually think of a thing. Um,
Motherfucker, are you gonna call back in next week and then tell the story?
No, no, no.
All right, come on.
Uh,
I don't think. Listen, I can't. You're asking me a very generic question of like, how do
yeah,
I make those decisions about myself? But that's not really advice because one, I suspect you don't really want your life to look like or to turn into mine, and two, any like the point of the show it basically is that I'm going to get to know you briefly or somewhat, or get to know a couple things
yeah,
about you, and then tell you what I think of them. But what I'm getting so far is that you're very guarded, or like I don't know. I have no way to answer your question if you don't tell me anything.
yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, one thing that pops in my head is when I'm at my mom's house. I have like a little brother and sister who they're kind of like really like not they're not like the best behaved, and whenever I try to talk about that and like raise up any kind of stuff about it, it's like there's no there's no way I can really say anything because everything is just kind of like I don't know dismissed.
Can I ask how old you are?
22.
Okay, and how old are they?
Uh, 5
Approximately.
and 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same father?
No.
Okay. Can you tell me a specific story about a time they were not well behaved and then you said something about it and you were ignored?
Well, I kind of just feel like I don't have any like options. So like as an example would be like I go over there sometimes
Can you
and
tell
like
me
my little
one time?
brother.
A time.
Yeah.
Just one time.
Yeah.
One thing that happened one time.
Yeah. So like oh well, this happens like similar things happen all the time.
I
But
just want to hear one
like
time though
I'll be over
because
there.
yeah, okay.
I'll be over there and like um my little brother will like curse at me or something, or he'll like hit me or whatever, and I don't
The
really
same.
have any like
Wait, wait,
recourse.
wait, wait, wait. Can you tell me a story of one thing that happened one time? Do you not? Do
And
you not want to answer in this form?
so I don't want to answer in this form.
I need you to tell me if you are incapable of telling me a story of an event that occurred on one occasion, so I could stop pressing you to do it, or if you don't want to. But you are not, in fact, telling me. I want one story of one thing that happened one time. Can I have it or not?
Uh, I feel like I'm trying to do that. Maybe I
It's
can't. I
got to
don't
be
know.
like a
Uh,
few weeks ago, or like at Christmas this year, like of a singular event. Like the difference being like when I go to the bathroom, I wash my
mm,
hands versus I just went to the bathroom and then I washed my hands. The second one is a story about one singular event in the timeline of my life versus a trend. But I feel like if you describe a trend to me, we're losing a lot of like the nuance and details. And so the reason I'm asking you for one specific time is that if you tell me about a trend, you've already synthesized what's happened into a narrative. So I have no way to challenge your narrative of yourself or your family because you're not presenting me with any data. You're only presenting me the synthesized narrative. So if you want to tell me your own narrative of what's happening, I can like tell you what I think of it, but I feel like it'll be more useful to you and both of us if you give me just like a series of, you know what I'm saying, a singular data set of one thing that happened one time, and then we'll see if we come up with the same narrative. And then if mine's different, then we can compare them and see what you think.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I'm not
One
sure
Once upon a
why.
time.
I just can't remember an actual specific story though. Right now, like I'm trying to think of like a
Well, when's the last time you were
specific thing.
there?
Um, like I've been over there like all the time.
When's the last time?
Uh,
You
I think
see, you see,
yesterday.
Okay, yesterday. Okay. Do you remember yesterday?
I didn't have like any like problems with them yesterday, so that's why I'm trying to remember. I know what you're asking me. I'm trying to remember the
Yeah.
thing, but I don't know.
Okay, well if you can't remember, do you want to just go for the generic story or do you want to take a second to try to think of a specific time? We don't have to constantly talk. I'm not trying to make a stream with constant like jabbering.
Yeah,
We can wait while you think of it.
yeah. I mean, I don't want to wait for. I don't want to take forever, and then I don't even think of something. But yeah. Um.
Let's take let's take like 20 seconds. I'm going to drink some water.
All right.
You think about the last month or two. See if
Yeah.
anything pops out.
Um. If if nothing's popping up, do you like why? I don't know.
Why
I
can't
don't
you
know if
remember
like
it? Why? I think because you're
yeah,
nervous. I mean, last week you were too nervous to say anything.
yeah.
I assume that you're like freaking out. Do you want to? Is there a reason you're nervous to talk to me about this? Like, is it the crowd, or that you're talking to me, or the topic, or what?
Um. No, I mean I don't. I think I'm not. I don't actually feel that nervous. Like last week, I didn't realize that I was going to be like one of the first people called up, so I didn't have my like shit together.
Okay.
And now I'm kind of feel like I didn't have my shit together enough because I didn't think like I don't know. I should have maybe had an example in mind, but I didn't like write that out or anything.
Okay. So you want to go?
Um,
Do you want to talk about it generically, or you want to come back next week and try again?
uh, I feel like I'm wasting everybody's time, but maybe I should just try again. Um,
Well,
and
this is
have
a
it
good.
ready. I
Okay,
don't know.
you see the thing you're talking about is happening right now.
In what way?
You're afraid you're taking up too much space. And then you're like, I'm not sure if I'm taking up too little space because I don't have a story to tell. And or am I taking up too much space because I've come in yet again with not being ready to actually have this conversation.
Yeah, but I mean it's accurate though, right?
Um that depends on the people around you. Like I'm signaling to you I didn't tell the mod not to bring you back on. I wasn't like, who the fuck is this guy who doesn't know what he's gonna say? Like I didn't tell Baby not to allow you back on the show, and I will tell him
Yeah.
that he should put you first in line again next week. And we'll see. We'll see if you have a story to talk about then. So if I'm setting the culture, then no, you're not taking up too much space. I could kick you out of the call whenever I want. I mean,
Yeah.
that's up to me. However much space you take up is my fault. It's not yours. So I think it just depends
Yeah.
on the context. It depends on what the people around you think, and then if you agree with them. That's like what a norm is. But you don't have to agree just because your mom or whoever thinks you're taking up too much space. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Um,
I think because I haven't heard the story.
yeah. I wish I wrote some shit out. Um, I usually feel like I am too. Like I mean, usually I feel that way as well. But then I I have emotions that like are coming up, and it's like I know that I'm not like I guess giving myself enough space just because of that. But in the moment, logically, I feel like yeah, like I'm being an ass or whatever. But I I don't have a story or whatever. So I don't
I
know.
need a story
Um,
because I hear your thought
yeah.
process and I understand it, but I don't know what you're applying it to, so I have no reference point for what's going on. Like you could come back next week and be like, okay, so I found the story. So I pinned my 7-year-old sibling to the ground and I was screaming in their face at the top of my lungs because they ate one of my French fries without asking. And then my fucking mom comes over and says, "Hey, shut up." And what a bitch, right? Like I have no idea what you're gonna tell me. So
Yeah.
yeah. So okay, let's talk next week.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Okay, let's check in with the chat. Um, third time's a charm. I agree. Circle back. That was the second draft. He's got to warm up. He's gonna hit it out of the park next week. Don't steal people's fries. That's the moral of the story I just told. Okay. Baby, I'm ready for the next one.
Hello, hello.
Hey man, welcome back.
Oh, no problem. It's good watching you and good watching these.
Thank you.
This what I wanted to talk about last time,
Yeah.
but sidetracked was I have an extremely nihilistic viewpoint on my life and what I'm doing from. I don't really like talking about it because it makes me sound insane, but like I have these little like you ever seen the show That's a Raven, where she has the little like glimpses into the future? I
No.
have those, but in my dreams.
Okay.
And then those little glimpses of the future happen, and they've always happened, and they typically are centered around extremely negative things, and then it makes me think that those negative things are always bound to happen, and that I don't have any free will. And so I want, I guess, some advice or deterrent about this because it's extremely depressing.
Okay.
I guess to give like the most recent example would
Yeah.
be literally at Christmas. So the point in question was actually me getting out of my dad's truck whenever I was going to my uncle's, and they typically last for about 3 to 5 seconds, but it was me opening up my phone and texting a previous partner Merry Christmas, but literally Christmas Day, my friend was going into surgery because they got shot in the lung like a couple weeks before, and so they needed a follow-up surgery and they could have possibly died. And so it makes me think, oh boy, were they supposed to get shot in the lung? Is all of this supposed to happen? It's really like ontological and really out there, but it really, and then it really like bothers me, and it warps my viewpoint on life and
Okay,
free
wait. Can
will.
you explain what you just said? You're saying that you had a dream that your
Yes,
friend
I
was
had
going
a
to have to go into surgery.
no, I had a dream of me getting out of my dad's car at my uncle's and opening up my phone and texting my previous partner
Yes.
Merry Christmas.
Okay.
And the dream and what I did line up exactly, like 1 to 1.
The dream was that you got out of the car and texted your previous partner Merry Christmas, and then you did that.
I did exactly that. In like 1 to 1, like and they're never on purpose, but they always happen, and then as they're happening I realize that
But
they're happening.
you're saying they're happening in the passive tense, but that's something that you did, right? Like you dreamed it and then you did it.
Yes,
Okay.
but it's not like I'm actively going to do those things. It's and they're not very, I guess, like general. They're very specific, like all the details match up.
Did you think about the dream before that happened?
No.
You just remembered the dream as you were doing it.
Yes, and it's like the extreme deja vu
Okay.
feeling.
One
and I
theory
can
about
recall
deja.
exactly to whenever it happened. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, that's fine. One theory about deja vu is that your brain is encoding things as long-term memories or memories when they are happening right now, and so you think that you're remembering something, even though all that's happening is that it's happening. This is just a theory I've heard. Um,
Yeah, I
like,
but
have you
as
ever
they're
have you ever?
happening, I can recall them to the dream.
I understand
That's
that,
the weird
but
part.
that would be what if if your brain was misencoding the information in as something that had happened before. That is what you would experience.
Okay.
Have you ever written down any of these dreams, or been aware of them, or
Um,
talked about them with anyone in any way that was like recorded?
I
Basically, are we
I
only relying on your memory as the source for this occurring, or do you have any record of having recorded?
I've
You get what I'm
had
asking?
like a personal recording record of it, but I've also talked about it with a few other people,
Yeah.
typically close family or close friends. Some people say that they have the same thing. My mother says that she has the same thing, and I'm like, "Do you have an explanation for it?" And she just says God, and I'm like, "Damn, that's crazy," because I'm not religious.
I know, but my question, I understand. My question is though, do you have any evidence outside of your brain that you've ever predicted the future?
Uh, no,
Okay. So I
'cause I don't want to believe that they're set in stone because most of them, because from what I can tell, because it's been happening for 4 years, is that they're linked to extreme emotional moments, and
yeah.
typically it's easier for the human to be extremely upset or negative rather than happy,
Yeah.
and so I don't like. Personally, it helps me mentally to not think that they're set in stone.
Do you believe in God?
Personally, no. I well, not like the one true God. Uh, what is it? But I do believe in a higher power. Yes.
Okay. So my stance is that um I don't believe in God. My stance is that um physics and quantum mechanics describe everything that is happening in the universe. And especially in our lives, where on a daily basis, quantum mechanics don't really come into to play. I think maybe they do, but my understanding is that they don't, or only on a tiny scale that is like irrelevant. Uh, Everything we do is explainable. So every thought you're ever going to think, and everything you're ever going to do, and everything that's going to happen in your life is like a very complex set of billiard balls hitting into each other and bouncing off in different directions. It's all just a series of complex chemical and electrical reactions, or whatever, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
physical interactions. Um, so everything you're thinking right now, is just the result of stimulus coming in, and other stimuli that have happened to you, and you're synthesizing them into thoughts, and it feels like you're doing something, but through a different lens, everything's just happening, and there's only one way it can happen. I feel like this is just
Mm-hmm.
like obviously true. However, we don't have, and probably couldn't possibly make, a computer smart enough to calculate everything in the universe or solar system or planet or whatever all at the same time enough to accurately predict the future. That's probably not possible. So the future is set. There is one fate, one timeline that is happening and is inevitably going to happen. Just definitionally, there's only one future that's going to happen. Um, Especially on Earth. I don't know. Maybe with black holes or something. I don't know. But on Earth, there is only one future that's going to happen, especially in our lives, which are like pretty short compared to the other stuff we're talking about.
On like a
And
solar system scale.
yeah, and like you don't. Yeah, and there's only one thing that's going to happen, and we don't know what it is. And I think you. I don't think you know the future, but I do think that there is only one future.
All right.
Um,
Um, hypothetically, if
yeah.
I did, and
If you knew the future.
if I did, hypothetically, and that is causing an extreme, uh, nihilistic viewpoint on my life and the feeling of purpose and whatnot, what would you advise to, I guess, raise morale?
I would advise that you reverse engineer this the same way I'm reverse engineering your story. I think that you think and feel like you know the future because you feel depressed and nihilistic. I don't think it's the other way around. I think there are other things in your life that you may not be aware of and may not understand that are making you feel trapped and like there's no point to life, and like you already see laid out before you the miserable path that you're going to go down before you die. I think that there are things in your life that are making you feel that way that you are not aware of or maybe don't want to be aware of at the moment. And then you are projecting that feeling onto a sense that you literally know the future and are literally trapped.
All right.
So I know I rejected your hypothetical, but
Oh no,
um,
no, that hey man, trust me, whenever I talk about it, I don't even like to because it sounds like I'm being insane, but again,
I don't think you're
everyone has
insane. I
their
think you're just sad and looking for an explanation for why you feel sad, um, and why you feel trapped. But I think that if you keep on this like swivel of like, well, maybe I know the future, maybe I don't know. That's very distracting from the other things in your life that are probably identifiable and more real that you can engage with that I believe are actually making you feel sad and trapped. So I just think this is a fantasy about maybe maybe it's not the things in your life that are making you feel sad and trapped. Maybe it's like a supernatural thing. And I don't think it is. I think that the way you're feeling is real and makes sense, but I just don't think you've made sense of it yet.
Okay. So be more grounded about things and to change instead of looking at it from that the things that are going to happen make me depressed, it's me being depressed makes some things happen. And so I just need to
I think you're
find
depressed.
personal enjoyment.
No, I think you're depressed about what is already happening and what has happened already. I
Okay.
think the answers to your questions lie in your past, not in your future. I also think you should go to
Okay.
therapy for this reason.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I will be returning.
Okay. Uh, okay, baby. I'm ready for the next one.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good too. I'm good too. I just ate some food that my sister made, so pretty good.
That's good. All right. So what's going on?
So, this is a confession and advice thing at the same time. It's like, yeah, it's like a little double whammy kind of thing.
Okay.
All right. So you've talked about like your that hookup you had with your Tinder date, and like, yeah, that. Well, I had a similar thing like that. Not exactly the same, but like kind of similar. And I've been struggling with it. It is I've not been feeling like really good about that ever since like another thing that's related to that happened.
Okay. Just to be careful that there are people listening who do not like me and do not like that story and do not like what I'm doing. And if you confess to a crime, they probably will try to report you somehow.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be okay, probably.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
what happened?
So this all kind of started in like 2021 last year. Yeah, basically, yeah, last year. I had a friend. I met this girl, and we met up, and like eventually we start being like friends with benefits, and we would meet up, you know, kind of talk. Well, not talk, but like we would like do stuff together, and we did that for a few weeks.
When you say do stuff, you
Um,
mean like have sex?
no, we didn't want sexual
Hey, wait, can I
activities.
ask
We
how
didn't.
old you are before we
I'm
continue?
19.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, and I was 19 at the time this happened. So,
Okay.
um, we didn't start having sex at first. But it was sexual activities.
Okay.
You know, kissing, smooching, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And so and during one of our little like meetups, we got to a point where we this is really scary to talk about. But but I mean, like, stuff happened, and like basically we were like kissing, like I was on top of her, and we kind of get to a point where I feel like she kind of gives me a look, and she tells me, "Hey," she doesn't tell me anything. She's like, she kind of gives me a look, and like so I like kind of start. I don't put it fully in. It's like tip. We do that for like 10 seconds or so, and then she tells me to stop. I stop. We stop for the night. Next morning, we get birth control. We call it a day. Um, we kind of laughed and talked about it. We kind of laughed about it and was like, yeah, it happens. And then, like, you know, we kept meeting up. Yada yada yada. You know, we're friends. We're hanging out on. We're like pretty friendly with each other. Um, um, I this is so scary. This is so messed up to talk about. But like, I don't know if I want to keep going. I don't know if I want to keep going.
Okay.
Her friend like calls me a rapist. Her friend, this was after like me and my like friends with benefits, we have an argument, we kind of it's and then like we end things, and then her friend calls me a rapist, and I'm like, what? And I'm like kind of shocked about it because I thought everything was like okay for like months, and we were like really we were nice to each other, we were friendly with each other, everything was great. And her friend called me a rapist, and I was like, this really messed up with my mind. This messed with my head, and I was like really freaked out about it. And it's like
Wait, when did she call you a rapist? How did she like
It
texted
was-
you or what?
she like it was we her friend like calls me and tells me to meet with her, and I meet with her, and not and the roommate doesn't tell me, and my friends with benefits doesn't tell me this. Her friend does. Her friend
Okay.
does.
So she like confronted
my
you
friends,
in person and said you're a rapist.
yes.
Okay.
My friends with benefits didn't say that to me, so I don't.
I
But
understand. Her friend
her-
did.
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that really messed with me because it's like I it messed with my head because like I was not having a good. It wasn't things weren't really going well like that like during that time frame, and this happened like a few months ago, like 4 or so months ago, and she tells me this, and it's like this just like totally fucks like that like entire like period of time, and like that plus like other stuff that had happened to me, and I just wasn't okay. Things like it has like I haven't felt like after her friend calls me a rapist and she yells at me some more and all that, calls me manipulative and an abuser, I'm like freaked out and I'm terrified. I'm scared that like she's right, and I'm like and like I was driving home, and I even said to myself, and I even say to myself, shoot, this might I might have to end it all because I don't know if I and like that was yeah, and ever since then I've kind of just like I would think about it and it would freak me out, and I'm kind of scared about it, and I would every so often I would just like get lost in thoughts, and I would just kind of like think about ending it, but like it's not like too common. It's like kind of like once in a while, but yeah, I yeah
Okay.
um
100% go to therapy.
yeah, I already know
Right.
that.
Like you need help.
Yeah,
Second, did you ever talk to your friend?
the friend, her friend,
The girl,
when
the
I'm
one that you had
yeah
sex
yeah
with. You talked to her?
yeah no, so before I had met with her friend, my friends have been. She told me when we ended things, she was like, "Okay, let's end things and let's not talk to each other." And I was like, "Okay, fine." And then when I meet with her friend, and this is like minutes, like almost like immediately after,
Mm-hmm.
like I meet with her friend, and she says, "Don't talk to her or either of them like ever again." And I was like, "Fine, okay." And I've kind of been I was kind of just like, okay, I guess I just won't.
So you don't know if she ever actually even said this. You're just hearing it secondhand from the friend, right?
Yeah.
But it sounds like it resonates with you. You think she's? I mean, are you saying you think she's right?
I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know. I thought in that moment that this was okay. And then when she told me so, I was like, okay, we're done. And then, like, we kept meeting up afterwards and having sex. Like, that was, like, after, like, that had happened, the next time we met up, we had sex. And then we kept having sex.
Okay. Do you think that? Do you think you deserve to die if you accidentally rape somebody, even if you did rape them?
I don't,
Does that seem
That's
kind
a
of an
good-
extreme? Like,
yeah, it is pretty extreme, but it's like, I don't know how to like, I don't know. It's just like, that's like the worst thing ever. That's like probably like one of the worst things you can do
Accidentally
to another
raping
person.
somebody is the worst thing ever. I don't know.
I
I
mean,
think I don't agree with you there. That
kind of.
it's not ideal, but it's not that bad. I feel like that's something that probably a lot of people have done. I guess my point is that like I feel like you've got a couple different issues going on. One, you seem totally unable to handle like an influx of bad feelings or self-hatred. Like you seem like you have no idea how to handle this. The fact that you're saying that
I,
like you're intermittently suicidal just to me means like the rest of this doesn't really matter. Your biggest problem is that you want to die because you feel bad. And to the point where you're actually like considering death as a solution to your bad feelings. It's not it's not to me I don't think it's an acceptable solution. And um so like you're alive and you're living with this and you don't know how to live with it. So I think you have to learn, regardless of what happened or who's right or who said what or whatever. You feel very bad and you don't know how to handle it. Like that we know 100%. So I'm gonna hit you with the therapy recommendation again. Like you need to learn how to process or cope with or express or whatever you need to do to live with these feelings. You need to learn how to do that like immediately because they whatever happens with this one incident, life sucks. It just continuously sucks. Shitty things happen constantly, all the time. And if you can't deal with them, like if you can't metabolize them or find a way to incorporate those bad feelings like into just as part of your life rather than dominating your entire life because you have no idea what to do with them, it's going to suck more. So I feel like the framing of this that you're approaching it with is a little off, where it seems like you're saying if you can somehow find absolution and somehow be innocent or convince yourself that you're innocent or have me convince you that you're innocent, then you won't have to deal with this. But the biggest problem is that you are totally derailed by feeling bad about yourself. So I feel like that's priority one, is you need to address that. Two, this person is able to really drastically sway your opinion of yourself, right? Like in one conversation, sounds like she was able to completely make you question like everything that you had felt and experienced.
Yeah.
Okay. And so maybe part of what makes you want to call in and talk to me is that you see me not me standing up to whatever 500 people saying I'm a rapist or pedophile and me being like, well, you know, that's okay if you think that. I think if somebody tells you that you raped them, you should definitely listen and take it to heart and that it is meaningful. I don't know that you should automatically agree with them, especially if there's any chance you're ever going to be charged with a crime. You definitely don't want to agree with them, even if you do agree with them, just out of self-preservation. Which makes it hard to talk about because, like, I feel like you need some kind of safety assurance of, like, you're not, like, going to take what I say and tell it to the police. Like, that makes it more complicated. It sounds like she's not going to press charges against you based on what you've said. And from the story you told, it sounds like you had no awareness that this could be or that she would experience it as rape. So I'm suspicious of her motivations. Not saying like I know she's trying to screw with you or that she's just like has bad intentions. She might have good intentions. It might be true. Maybe you did rape her. I don't know, but I don't think that has any bearing on whether or not you should live. Like fucking people make mistakes. But yeah, so I think figuring out for yourself what you think will be much easier if you can tolerate the idea that maybe if you think about this long enough, you'll find that like maybe you did push past her defenses when she was saying no, and maybe that was wrong of you, and maybe you feel bad about it, and maybe you need to make amends somehow or just accept that. But if you can't stand that idea, it's going to be really hard to think this through. Even if the conclusion is going to be that her friend is like out of line and like fucking with it. I think it is weird to call someone and confront them on behalf of your friend, call them a rapist, and then tell them not to talk to the friend. It's like, whether it's true or not, it just puts you in this position where you're totally unable to resolve this, except by doing it on your own, which we've established you are bad at.
Yeah, I'm not really good at
And then,
doing this.
yeah, you're not handling it well. And then, I don't know. I feel like you have to think about whether you want to reach out to the friend with benefits. And so like I hear you saying like we kept hanging out and blah blah blah, and like that is a good sign, but it doesn't mean that she did not later feel like you raped her, and it doesn't mean that you didn't rape her. Based on your story, it doesn't sound like you did, and it almost doesn't sound like you think you did.
I mean, I don't even know what I think. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's kind of like changes with my mood.
Okay, well, you definitely need to. Do you talk about this with anybody?
I told my parents, my sister,
What did their
and
parents say?
some friends about my parents. You know, they came to visit me and like, you know, made sure that I was okay. So they're on my side. They told me to be like, hey, it's okay. Don't freak out. We're here for you, and like that stuff. My friends, same thing. One of my friends said that I kind of put myself in a gray area there by doing that. So, and yeah, he's right. I do think it was a gray area.
By going ahead without her giving explicit consent?
Yeah, yeah. Or like that, like yeah.
Do you think that if you went ahead, so she didn't tell you to stop, she didn't, so as far as the rules and the law go, what I did was worse than what you did, right? Because my Tinder date actually said I'm not ready, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that if she gave you a look like she was ready, you penetrated her, had sex with her, she loved it, you guys had a great time, continue to have sex for whatever, weeks after, and then you told your friend, do you think he would still say you were in a gray area? You get what I'm saying? Like, is he saying that because of how she reacted, or is he saying that solely based on what you did? Because I feel like it is safer to get a verbal affirmation of consent. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do that, especially people who know each other better. That was another difference between your story and my story. I had met this woman like 4 hours earlier. You had already established a semi or intimate connection with this girl, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that unusual for people to make moves like that, even penetration, without a verbal affirmation. And it does put you in a gray area. But I think most of the time people are, I don't know. I guess I'd say it's a gray area, but it seems common. I feel like, especially like once you start dating somebody regularly, like when you're in a relationship and you've been in a relationship for a while, I feel like it's pretty rare for either person to ask for verbal consent before doing anything. You kind of just like do stuff, and if the person wants you to stop, they'll say like don't do that, and then you'll stop. Which is like a series of like little mini gray area rapes, I guess. But you're usually not treated that way or like processed that way. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it is a gray area. Unless you know someone, the grayer it is. And and then if you're wrong and they are hurt by it, I guess I think it's worth it to differentiate, like, if you think what you did wasn't that wrong and she says it was, does that mean that she's right? Or if it had been done to you, how would you feel? I think her experience matters and is valid. Like, if she feels like you raped her, that's how she feels. If the cops feel like you raped her, then you're in legal trouble. If you feel like you raped her, you're in moral trouble. If your friends feel like you raped her, you're in emotional and social trouble. Like, I don't know that there needs to be a clean consensus. I think it's just going to be kind of messy. So I suspect you're talking to me because on some level, you know, I'm going to say like, well, you like micro raped her, but I don't. You told her, she told you to stop, and you stopped, and like I can't see it, so I don't. Maybe you just like thrust yourself into her suddenly and without warning, and maybe if I saw it, I would say, oh, that kind of is rape, man, or maybe it was slow and gentle, or a normal thing as you described it, and she allowed it to happen, and then said, oh wait, I don't want to do this, and then maybe her friend convinced her. I don't know. I don't think you're going to reach a easy consensus on this, even with yourself. So yeah, I would talk about it with a therapist, definitely, and think about whether it's worth talking to her about it. I guess there's some risk that she'll feel super triggered by it and like freak out and call the police or get more people to confront you. But there's also a chance that she'll say like, oh, I just told that story to my roommate. And she was really worried about it, but I wasn't that worried. I just like, I thought I moved on, and you should too. I don't know. I think it's worth thinking about talking to her, but I would talk to a therapist first.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
But you still deserve to live, even if you're a rapist.
I guess.
Especially if you're an accidental rapist. I think I was talking about this with Destiny, where he was saying like the shit that teenagers do to each other is like the standards for consent in when you're 15 or 19 or 22 are I think just socially just a little more relaxed. Like if you do stuff like that when you're 35 or 36 like I am, like it becomes more worrisome, and I think people rightly so have stricter standards, and it's more expected that you like are more clear-headed. But I think people make mistakes like that all the time when they're young. I don't know. That's my take. But you got to get help with dealing with your feelings part. I think that's my main advice.
Yeah, feelings are hard.
Yeah, especially feelings like these. Okay.
It's just.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess this one's kind of just out of left field. Do you think I should tell people that I'm autistic before like we like have sex, or like in like yeah, obviously in a relationship, but like just like a hookup or anything like that? Is that yeah? Because if you're
especially like if you know you're autistic and you're going off social cues to determine whether you are going to penetrate somebody, it's like you're drunk driving, like you're flying blind. So you gotta. That's also, that changes the story a bit. But in the sense that like I'm more concerned about your feelings and how you're going to process this, and how overwhelmed you are. Uh, and still get therapy is my advice. But yeah, I think that also if you know you're autistic, I'm sure you've learned your lesson from this story.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
you gotta rely on verbal affirmation, I think,
Yeah.
until the person explicitly says that you don't have to. That's what I would do. I would say like, I'm autistic. I need you to explicitly tell me what you're okay with because I might not know. And then once you're comfortable with me, if you want to say, you know, just to take a guess and to just do whatever, and I'll tell you if I don't like it, and then maybe you'll get to a more comfortable place there. But yeah, for now, I think you should tell people you're autistic before you have sex with them. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna end the call.
Okay. Thank
Take
you.
care of yourself. Get help.
I'll try.
You need it.
All right. I will definitely do that. I don't know
Okay.
how to, but I'll figure it out.
Therapist.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Getting a therapist can be hard. Yeah. I think that's true. Yeah. And then getting one you can work with is even harder. The cost of therapy in America, I think it depends on your area. I think it's somewhere between like $75 to $200, depending on like rural versus city, and then some health insurance covers it. But I mean, if you're like in crisis, you just pay whatever you need to pay. All right, baby. Bring it on.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Girl. How's it going?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good. So I guess this one is advice. So
Okay.
yeah, so I'm fat and I hate being fat.
All right.
Yeah. And I've dieted and exercised, but and I've gone I've been doing it for 2 weeks, but there's always that 2 week mark that I just tend to fall through.
Yeah.
And it's always those 2 weeks. And I don't know if it's motivation or just discipline, but it is very hard to have discipline and motivation during those 2 weeks because you just want to fall through. And I really don't know what to do.
Well, luckily, I'm a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
COVID's been tough for me. I gained like 20 pounds over the course of it. I think I'm probably lost like 5 or something, but
yeah.
I'm trying to lose weight as well, and it's
I mean,
difficult.
at one point, I just like did not wanted to eat for a week, but then I heard that like your metabolism slows down, and so when you get back eating again, I guess your body just stores all that food into fat.
Uh,
So
I think
or
that
something.
theory is a little overblown. Okay,
Oh,
there's a couple avenues of attack here. One,
okay.
why do you want to eat so much? Well, how fat
I
are we
guess
talking?
210.
Okay, and how tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
Okay, and how much do you want to weigh?
I say about one. I guess my goal is 175.
Okay, so that's 35 pounds. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, why do you eat so much?
I guess like because food tastes good, and I guess whenever I eat, it is the satisfaction and fullness that I have when I eat. So I guess I want to be satisfied and full.
Okay. Or do you think you're avoiding, like, is it that you're avoiding feelings or anxiety or something, like self-medicating with food, or you just love it so much that you can't stop?
No, no, I think I just like it, and I like when I eat, I can just eat a lot. That's it. I think that's what it is.
Do you live with anybody?
Yeah,
Who?
my parents and my brother.
They're the enemy.
They are
The,
okay.
yes. Yeah. Anyone you live with is the enemy of your diet.
Interesting.
And unless they're extremely supportive, are they fat?
No. So my brother is okay, my dad's okay, and my mom, eh, she's
You don't want to call your mom fat on a live stream. I
no, yeah,
understand.
yeah.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So, who's who's giving you the food? Do you make your own food, or are you eating with them, or are you eating on your own? What's your
So
socially?
sometimes,
What's like the
yeah,
landscape here?
yeah. So sometimes my mom cooks food, but I think usually when I get off of work, I would not all the times, but maybe 2 or 3 times I would go get food because usually she doesn't cook.
Okay. What do you go get?
Sometimes it'd be fast food or like sometimes it would be like sushi, teriyaki chicken with rice,
Yeah.
like a bowl. Yeah,
Yeah. That sounds good.
yeah.
Okay. Where do you work?
I
Or what
work
what
at
type of what type of work?
yeah. I work for a school.
Okay. Um. What diet have you tried? What are you doing for the diet?
So the diet I've tried before, which has worked, but again, like that 2 week mark was basically
Well,
in the
see, I
yeah.
this it didn't work. If it worked, you would weigh at 175. So just because something works temporarily, it has to,
Uh-huh.
you know what I'm saying? Like a plane that takes off and then crashes an hour later, it didn't work.
Huh? Because like, what do you mean by that? Because like when I tried it, obviously it made me lose weight, but then I stopped doing it.
Well, then that's the part where it didn't work. A diet
Okay.
has to be livable. It can't be like you're holding your
Oh.
breath. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
It,
see.
it has to be like a lifestyle that you can just do forever.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Like you need to find some way to gain control over your calorie intake
Yeah.
that you can gently modulate up and down as you, because every day you're going to gain or lose weight no matter what. You
Yeah.
never are going to eat your exact maintenance. So every day we're gaining or losing weight. And if we develop a relationship with food where we're educated enough and have enough self-control, we can, if we say, "Oh, I'm up a couple pounds," and just gently kind of change our habits and bring ourselves back down. But
Mhm.
if you're doing this, here's the problem with doing this. Um, every time you go starve yourself and eat way under your maintenance calories, you drop weight really fast, right? But you also
Okay.
drop a lot of muscle while you're doing that,
Yeah.
and your muscles burn calories and they look and feel nice and help your body work better. But having muscle also burns calories. So if you lose muscle and fat, and then when you drive your when you start you break your diet and you start eating 4,000 calories a day suddenly because you're fucking starving,
Hmm.
your body has an almost unlimited ability to add fat in a short period of time.
Oh wow.
So throughout this cycle, what people do is they shave all the muscle off their body and replace it all with fat, because every time you go up, if you gain 5 or 10 pounds in a week, it ain't muscle. None of it's muscle. It's all fat.
Right.
Right. So that's the problem with extreme dieting, is that yeah, it works short term, but eventually it leaves you with a ton of fat and less muscle than when you started. So what I would advise, do you lift
Okay.
weights?
No.
Do you like exercising? I mean, if you don't, I would
No.
I guess not.
Yeah. Though,
I would,
like
I
my
would,
exercise, I just want to get it done
okay.
quickly as possible. Yeah.
Well, so when you say as quickly as possible, again, I'm talking about your life.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you want to not be fat, you have to change your entire life, and you have to do this for the rest of your life. So
Yeah.
when you're thinking about what kind of thing you're going to commit to, don't think that you can just do it for a few months and then you'll stop. I'm talking
Mhm.
about for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would lift weights. I
Okay.
would start like twice a week
Okay.
for like 45 minutes. Find like some easy full body routine. If you don't want to lift weights, do something like get a rowing machine or something like that.
Okay.
And then I would try to lose half of a pound to a pound a week. And to that, so half a pound a week is a calorie deficit of 250 calories a day.
Okay.
Which is like like it's like a little handful of rice. If you add a little handful of rice every day for a week, you'll gain a half a pound a week. If you take it out,
Mm.
you'll lose half a pound a week. And
Mhm.
I would probably modulate carbs. So like I would just I'm not saying don't eat fast. Don't I'm not saying basically the most efficient way to do this is to track your weight, track your calories over a period of like 3 or 4 weeks, and then
Mhm.
you'll be able to calculate your maintenance. And so what do you need to eat to stay at the same weight?
Mm.
And you can use like MyFitnessPal or whatever to do this. But my overall advice is like just do a calorie restriction plan, but just go slow. And
So.
if that doesn't work, then I would start saying like, okay, then just don't go out to eat at all for a
Okay.
while, and then you could
Right.
try reintroducing it back into your diet. But
Right.
do not go like 1,000 calories under your maintenance. Do not. I would never eat like 1,200 calories in a day or some crazy shit, or even 15. I don't. How old are you?
I'm 20.
Yeah. So I would think that if you enter your shit into MyFitnessPal, it's probably going to recommend like 2,000 or 2,200 calories a day to lose like a pound a week or something.
Mhm.
I would try that
Okay.
and just take it slow. And
Yeah.
then, like in Scientology, they talk about suppressive people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your mother's a suppressive person.
Yeah.
She's the enemy of your diet. And as your temporary personal trainer, that makes her my enemy. So she's gonna say things or do
Yeah.
things that are gonna make it hard for you. People don't want you to lose weight. Nobody wants you to lose weight. Ever.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
It's if you have fat friends, they don't want you to lose weight. They want you to stay fat. If you have skinny friends, they want you to be the fat friend. They don't want you to lose weight either. Everybody is against you. And the sooner you realize this, the easier it is to to start being rude. So when your mom's like, "Oh, but I made you bacon wrapped hot dogs." You have to just say like, "Fuck you. I'm not eating that."
Yeah.
And she's going to get pissed because to her food is like affection. It's like she's like, but you just make her
Yeah.
cry. Just make her fucking cry and say no. And eventually she'll stop pushing it on you. But I found every single client I've ever had who wanted to lose weight, there's some fucking person in their life on the other end of it, making it impossible for me to do that. They're the enemy. And you got to start being rude. You got to break social norms. You have to be weird and just like, you're like, eight of your friends, like, well, you're not going to, you're really not going to just have a piece of cake. It's like, no, I'm not. Because I'm fucking better than you. I'm going to be in better shape than you. You're all fucking out of control, fat pieces of shit. Whatever you need to fucking say.
Yep.
I'm just saying, protect your diet at all costs against these
Yep.
fucking zombies trying to crawl over the fence.
Can I ask you, what do you eat in a day?
I eat a gigantic bowl of oatmeal,
Okay.
a cup of oatmeal, a cup of skim milk, maybe more, a banana, and some chocolate chips. Other times I'll have frozen berries and raisins in the oatmeal. Every day I eat a cup of oatmeal and skim milk for breakfast. I'm doing some version of intermittent fasting. So I usually don't eat this until about 2 or 3
I
if I
heard
can make
about
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just easier to. I find it easier to just not eat breakfast. So I eat that for lunch, and then for dinner, usually Shaylin or I, if I'm making dinner, I just make like a pound of chicken or a pound of like lean beef or turkey burger and like vegetables of some kind, like some meal that is constructed from those things. Shaylin in my life, Shaylin's my enemy. She's like the other night, she was like, "Do you want me? I'm making country fried steak with gravy."
Yeah.
And so like, and we've had this conversation so many times that we've gotten to a point where I'm just like, you make whatever the fuck you want, and I'll just handle myself. So she's like, "Do you want me to bread your steak?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want you to bread my fucking steak." But there's times during this pandemic where I've been weak, and I've allowed Shaylin to ruin my body by feeding me things that make me fat. And so
Yeah.
I've had to learn. We've decided it's better for her to just make whatever she wants, because otherwise she has the opposite problem where she doesn't eat enough and she gets very unhappy if she can't make like tasty food. So basically, if Shaylin's making dinner, I have some shittier version of whatever she's having.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. And if I'm making dinner, we both have the shitty version.
Oh, okay. So, one more thing.
Yeah.
So, intermediate fasting. So basically,
Intermittent.
intermittent. So you basically skip breakfast and you wait until 1 to have your lunch,
Yeah.
and then you have your dinner like around 5, and it's 2 meals a day. But
I
is it
no. I have my dinner. You can do whatever time schedule you want. Intermittent fasting is mostly bullshit. It's just a way to force yourself to eat less. So
Oh, okay.
this is my understanding of it. There's people who swear by it and the science of it. I just fucking eat less. But it's one way to eat less is to say, I'm going to eat all my food between 2 p.m. and 10 p.m.
Okay.
Right? And then
Yeah.
you'll be full, you'll be satisfied. And then the next day you'll be hungry and you just stick with the hunger, just wait until 2 or 3 or whatever. And then, but the idea is that if you compress all your calories into a window, you'll be more full and more satisfied, and like you'll be happier during that time, and then you'll be more unhappy the rest of the time. It's really just pick your poison. I think you should try it though. You might like it.
Yeah, probably will.
Whatever meal you
Okay.
can feel like you can live without, just try cutting that out.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mr. Girl. Appreciate it.
Stand up to these fucking people. You're welcome.
All right.
All right, talk
Thank
to you
you.
later. You're welcome.
Bye bye.
Bye. You gotta avoid binge eating too. Yeah, that's fucking true. Right. Yeah, so some people would be like, I'm gonna intermittent fast, and they eat 6,000 calories worth of McDonald's. That's not gonna work. Counting calories, yeah. Counting calories is not sustainable for most people long term, but for getting information, yeah, to figure out what the fuck's going on. Thoughts on paleo? I think it's more the same shit. It's just easier to lose weight if you're just eating a bunch of carbs. It seems like it's bad for you though. I'm after training and hearing about all these different diets, I'm anti-fad diet. I'm just like, eat a lot of protein, lift weights, and whatever else your calories you want them to be, eat whatever, but you'll live longer if they're things like brown rice and broccoli, and like you lose weight if the calorie is a calorie, so you'll lose weight if you want to eat like McDonald's ice cream cones for your carbs and your fat, but I think then you die faster, so you got to balance that out. What's more healthy, Mac or Pizza Hut? Healthy. So I would define healthy as like, if you have your macronutrient goals for the day, there's a certain amount of protein, fat, and carbs you want to eat every day, right? And so healthy means nothing devoid of context. So like, if I ate like a pound of just chicken breasts, and so for the rest of the day, all I need to eat is fat and carbs, then Pizza Hut or McDonald's are both perfectly healthy options at that point. If I keep my calories in check, from a macronutrient point of view, like I just said, like you're not getting any vitamins or minerals, but just from a macronutrient point of view, they are healthy in that context. Most people are not doing that though. So if you're talking, most people are short on protein, high on fat and carbs, and high on calories overall. So that's why those places are seen as unhealthy or called unhealthy. Also, protein just costs more. So when you eat cheap food, you're just going to get less protein generally. The most cost-effective high-protein meal eating out is usually like half a chicken. If you can find a place where you can buy half of a rotisserie chicken or a whole rotisserie chicken, I feel like those are the most bang for your buck. Other, like, even at like a nice restaurant, or even like a cheapish restaurant, like a chicken breast that you could buy at a grocery store for $2, and it costs like fucking $25. Why does he have a horseshoe around my neck? This is my headphones. So many people have commented on it though, and I feel like it is a little goofy, so I ordered some earbuds. They're coming. Got all my streaming equipment. I got some new lights too, because these lights are hot as fuck. So I have some LEDs coming too. I buy a nice soy protein supplement. Yeah. If you're gonna eating other kinds of protein, then I think soy protein's okay. I wouldn't go only soy protein though. I would go with whey, unless you're vegan. I need some gamer headphones. You mean like some Astro A40s, motherfucker? I have some Game Zero headphones too. Mr. Girl is moving up in the world. That's right, baby. How do you sign up? Join the Discord. Don't make my stream room look like a Russian e-girl sex dungeon. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. I'm ready, baby.
What's up?
Hey. How's it going?
It's good.
What's going on?
How's my volume?
I'm adjusting it. I think it's pretty good.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I just spend the first like 5 or 10 seconds kind of just adjusting the
Okay.
thing in OBS, but it looks good.
Fuck yeah, dude.
All right, what do you want to talk about?
The time I got suspended from college.
When was this?
This was a few years ago.
Okay.
Would have been 3 years ago was when I was figuring out what to do next. The confession portion is that it was I had sex with a girl who had been drinking, and the people who saw that kind of decided that was wrong. Of course, how it looks. And then I guess that manifested throughout the semester, and I got canceled and like suspended.
Canceled?
Canceled, like the cancel culture phenomenon.
Oh no, I know,
I guess.
I'm aware. I just meant how did that specifically what happened?
I guess when my friends back home found out, they viewed that as me being predatory
Okay.
because they just assumed that about me because I had, I don't know, problems with girlfriends. But in hindsight, after years of thinking about it, and after the whole semester with this girl on and off being friends,
Yeah.
she never had a problem with what happened.
Okay.
And now in hindsight, I realize she was kind of one of the last women I was with who was kind of more taking advantage of me, is how I felt.
How so?
What do you I guess she was more sexually experienced and I was just taking care of her. And I kept saying no, and she kept saying yes because she had been drinking. And I kept saying no because she had been drinking. And I don't know, one thing led to another and then wasn't good. I didn't come.
Are you saying can you tell me about the one thing led to another, or you don't want to get more specific?
No, I'm an open book. Yeah, I've been thinking about this for years. Uh, one thing led to another. She had been drinking. We were all hanging out. She had been flirty. She said she wanted to have sex in in a jokey way in front of everybody
Yeah.
about me. And then I was just taking care of her because none of her friends wanted to deal with her panic attacks. I feel very connected to you in that way. That's why it's been cool listening, because you talk about girls having panic attacks when you're with them, or they don't want
Yeah.
to be emotionally vulnerable.
And
What do you
she had
think?
I want to hear the story. She had a panic
Oh,
attack that night, or what?
so she was having panic attacks. She was the funny part. Oh, the fucked up part is that she was having panic attacks because she was getting over one of my best friends because they dated, and
Yeah.
he was like her consistent like person to go to when having panic attacks.
Okay.
Anyways, I was just trying to take care of her, and then she was all over me. And then after vomiting and hours, I had never drank, so I thought like, oh, she says she's sober. And now that I have drank, I'm like, oh, it was like 4 to 6 hours after she had been drinking with lots of vomiting. So I was
Yeah.
like, after I drink after that long, I'm pretty sober. So I don't know.
Okay. So she's freaking out. She's a hot mess. She's vomiting. You're taking care of her. She's already joked with you that she wants to have sex with you. You're taking care of her for 4 to 6 hours?
I was just chilling, giving her water. She kept passing out on her couch, and I was just chilling there, waiting for her to go to bed. Which, of course, sounds like I was waiting for us to go to bed. And then eventually, she goes back and forth between her room and vomiting in the
Yeah.
bathroom.
So you're sitting on her couch,
And
and then at some point,
yeah, she keeps waking up, falling asleep,
yeah.
crying to me about stuff. And eventually, 4 to 6 hours after everybody's kind of been pieced out, I guess, she's wrapping her legs around me. And I look back and I feel like I had no choice. Like I couldn't push her off of me. And I look back further with other women I was with before that, and I realize they're always the ones kind of, it feels like they're taking advantage of me. And it's been
I
weird.
feel like you're trying to. I understand that this is how you feel.
Yeah.
But you're also coloring my perception of the story. Can you just tell me what happened?
What do you mean?
Just the facts, ma'am.
I'm talking about. Oh, okay, the facts.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it out, I guess, in a out of order way. It's like
I want
all
a
of
chronological breakdown. So she's lying on the
Okay.
couch. She's wrapping her legs around you.
I think she's trying to kiss me when she would like wake up, but this was hours after drinking. It was kind of like tired,
I understand.
drunk.
Okay.
And then she was in and out, falling asleep again and stuff like that. Eventually I think I carried her a little. I'm scrawny, so she walked the rest of the way.
Okay.
Then she didn't want me to leave, so I sat in a chair next to her bed, and then eventually tried to sneak out, and then she'd have a panic attack when I tried to sneak out. Then she's grabbing me again. She doesn't want me to leave. Did that a few times.
Yeah.
Interwoven with like trips to the bathroom. Eventually, I think it must have been 5 or 6 a.m. when I was getting into bed with her. She was wrapping her legs around me. I kind of convinced myself based on what she was saying. I
What
was like,
at what point did you decide to get into bed with her? What happened?
she was giving me no choice, you know, like kissing me all over, and I was
Wait,
avoiding
wait,
kisses.
wait. You're
She
sitting.
said,
No, you're sitting next to
What?
the bed. You're sitting
I'm
next to.
standing there.
You're standing by the
Yeah.
bed. Okay.
Yeah.
She is in and out still.
Now she's just like kind of coping with the emotions, drinking water,
Well,
and then getting-
consciousness level. Is she's
Yeah,
awake?
Yeah, absolutely.
She's awake at this point? Or she
Yeah.
is in and
Oh, yeah.
out still?
And she's trying. She's just being flirty and like.
She's
trying to
awake
talk
or
me
she's
into-
in and out still?
She's awake.
100% awake?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
You're standing next to the bed.
Vomiting, lots of stuff like that. What?
Okay. You're standing next to the bed. She's awake. Possibly still drunk. Whatever. She starts kissing you all over. Like she's kissing your body while you're standing next to the bed.
She's grabbing it. She was grabbing onto me. She was grabbing my hand when I would try to leave.
Okay. And then eventually you decided to get into bed with her.
At first, I was like, "We can't even kiss." And she's like, "No, I'm not even that drunk." And then eventually, she's all over me, and I'm like, "Okay, you know what?" She says it's fine. It's okay to just kiss. You know,
Okay.
It's like, okay.
I understand. So you decided to just kiss and then you ended up having sex.
And then I got into bed, and then she's touching me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it's just doing that. I had only been with one other person before then, and it had been years. So for me, it's like I wasn't in a rush. I really
Okay,
didn't-
here's my problem with the way you're telling the story.
Yeah.
It's a confession, right?
Mhm.
And yet you are trying to tell it in the most innocent way possible, which is the
Okay.
opposite of a confession. And so it's
Well, I guess.
so we're having to
Sorry.
do a lot of wrestling here because I'm trying to figure out what the fuck happened, but it feels like you're trying to get me to believe that that you didn't do anything wrong, but within the context of it being a confession. So so it could just be a story. That's fine. It doesn't have to be like a confession, or you don't have to be racked with guilt. But it feels like you're trying to sway me. Like every 5 seconds, you're including some information from your past,
Yeah.
so that I will hear it in the most favorable light possible, which is the opposite of what a confession is.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I guess because wrestling with it during the semester, and
Yeah.
then afterwards losing friends and stuff like that, it felt like the whole time everybody was telling me I did something wrong. The few people I actually told the story to were like, no, like that happens. You know?
I'm not here to judge you.
No, I know.
I want to know. Yeah, so you're saying you feel very defensive about this.
I was for so long, and recently I'm finally coming to terms with like, I don't think the shame was justified for years. And I guess it was like looking for it's confessing what happened, but I'm coming off too defensive.
Yeah. It makes you sound guilty.
Yeah.
Not to me. I just think to the audience, you're leaving no room for the idea that you could possibly have done anything wrong, which people react really badly to and are going to respond with like, "Oh, Jesus fucking Christ." So, can you just as straight as you can?
Sure.
You start kissing, she's groping you, grabbing you. She physically convinces you to have sex. Did you talk anymore after you were in the bed?
It was mostly verbal. It was mostly the like, no, I'm fine. I'm not even drunk. I vomited. I want to do this. I told you I want to do this. And then afterwards, that's what she said. But you know, I look back, and it just feels like it was being taken advantage of. I guess so. That's to say.
I want the
getting
facts.
it
Hang
straight.
on, I'm not ready. I'm
You
not
want the
ready.
facts, right?
I don't want to know the
she's all over
retrospective.
me,
Yeah.
And I get into bed, and then she's
We're
touching my
we're
dick.
past this part. You said she
Okay.
told you she was fine. She used her saying she wanted to have sex before as proof that she's fine. And then at what point did you decide to have sex with her?
That was, I don't know what the point was. It's been so long, but it was like that was the point, I guess, where she started going like, okay, let me find a condom, and then I think she couldn't find a condom, so we were like, whatever, and then we're doing
Okay.
it. We're doing it for a while, and then it was like bad. It was like gross, and then we went to sleep after like a while.
Why was it? Why was it bad?
She was like hurting my dick when she touched it beforehand, and
She
then
was like
started
she was
hurting
like
when we were
rough.
fucking. Yeah.
Okay.
She said afterwards because she was used to guys who were uncircumcised. I don't know.
Oh, I see. She was pulling the skin too hard. So then after that, did you keep in? You said after you said the next day or whatever, she said the same thing that she said she wanted to have sex with you.
Yeah, and then we were kind of flirty. The whole relationship was like I transferred to school there. She knew people who I knew, so she was kind of like taking care of me.
Did you ever
showing me
have sex
around.
again?
No. We kissed a little after that, and then a little towards the end of the semester, and that's when.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
are you saying you kissed again toward the end of the semester?
She came over. We were on and off because she would have panic attacks and couldn't handle that, and then
Couldn't handle the sexual contact?
couldn't handle like I liked her and I had no friends because they thought I was a rapist.
Did she ever do anything to dispel that notion that you're a rapist? Did she tell them that she didn't think you're a rapist?
I have no idea. I don't think so. She told me she didn't think so.
But she didn't want to get canceled by defending you?
Probably. I know that the few friends I had that have stuck through it, I now have found out recently that they had to go through, like, people were confronting them, like, you can't keep talking to him and stuff like that. So I realized maybe that's what it was. I don't know. She did try to hide our, like, friendship from her roommates and stuff like that.
After
After
the
we were on and off.
accusations.
Yeah, it was her roommates who, like, reported me and stuff like that.
Her roommates found out that you were not just taking care of her, you had sex with her. And then they reported you to who?
The schools, like Title IX.
And what did
Office.
the school suspended you?
They left it up to the girl involved, call her Missy. That's not her name.
Okay.
And then it wasn't until the end of the semester when she decided. And so all of this was wrapped up in, like, she.
Hey,
was
wait.
seeing
Oh.
Yeah.
Just answer my questions.
What's the question?
What happened? So you got reported in the disciplinary case. You got reported. Title IX. They left it up to her.
Yeah.
What did she do?
She didn't want to do anything.
She didn't want to
She
press.
thought we should just be friends. We shouldn't talk too much. Then we started talking again.
In the
She kept
disciplinary
coming back to
case,
me.
she told the school that you hadn't done anything wrong.
I have no idea. Because eventually then she decided to. They left it open, and then
Yes.
towards the end of the semester was when she decided to get him out of the school.
Okay, so she told the school that you raped her, and then they suspended you.
Yeah, months later. All right.
Were you?
So it was. Go for it.
Were you suspended or expelled?
I was suspended for 2 years from all the public schools in the district.
So, for all intents and purposes, public schools in the.
So like all of our state colleges.
Okay,
It
all
was
state
like
colleges you were suspended from for 2 years, which is effectively an expulsion,
Okay, yeah.
right? Like, I mean, it's not literally, but in practice, like you could have gone back 2 years later, but did you?
I was going to, and I ended up going to one that's closer to me because I can't live on campus because of that.
So you're not going to a state school anymore.
I am. It's been after the 2 years now.
So you waited the 2 years and you did go back to the same school
Not
system.
the same school.
Not the same
Just
school,
the-
but state school. Okay. And so you said that she didn't rape you, but then later that you didn't rape her, but later she changed her mind and told the school that actually you did rape her.
And she always said that incident wasn't the problem, which made no sense to me because that was the thing that fucked me up. And sent me down like.
She said that
Oh,
incident
yeah.
wasn't the problem that made her tell the school that you should be kicked off of campus.
Yeah, in her letter, she's like this inciting incident, the incident in question. She called it, like
Can you tell me
wasn't the
what
problem.
else did the letter say then? What did she say was the problem?
She said because she just wanted to be friends, and I was like flirty with her, and I wanted to be with her, and she kept kind of, I feel like, using me emotionally instead of just and stringing me along, and then I don't know, and then I kissed her at the end of the semester, and that was the thing.
The kissing her was the thing?
Yeah, she came over, fell asleep on me. When she woke up, I started kissing her. She was, I don't know. She
You
was
kissed her
there.
after she woke up, or you kissed her while she was not awake?
After she woke up, yeah.
Okay,
She
so
was
she
like,
woke
"Oh."
up, you kissed
Yeah.
her, and then she said that you crossed the line by kissing her.
She after the fact said I should have known that she wanted to leave when I was trying to, I was like, we can, like, she came over, so I was like, you should stay, and I was, so I kept kissing her, and that was it. And then she said I should have known that she wanted to actually leave, and that's all that happened. But
She
I
said
can
she
see
wanted
how
to
that
leave,
would
and you
ruin
said
them.
that she should stay.
Yeah, I guess it's the, oh no, it's that oh baby, it's cold outside. Unfortunately, that sounds bad.
She said she felt trapped by you.
Yeah, she said I should have known, and that's the thing I have qualms with when I look back, because I don't know. What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about how it just sounds like, I mean, you make her sound like she's extremely unstable, obviously.
Yeah, she had panic attacks in my dorm all the time.
Yeah, that she's freaking out and you're taking care of her, and but you also wanted to be with her.
Yeah, I just, we were really, ever since we'd met, we were kind of like on the same wavelength, and I just don't deal with that well, I guess. I had feelings, but that's all to say. What I was saying before, she was kind of seeing somebody else before, and then she's still with that person. I feel like a lot of that, the panic attacks were with guilt of feeling like she was cheating on this guy that she's
Yeah,
now with.
whatever. I don't care how she's feeling.
You don't care about that? Okay.
I don't care. I'm talking about how you're feeling. Why do you want to date somebody who is constantly having panic attacks? What do you know what attracted you to that situation?
It definitely, I don't think it was that I wanted to fix her. I think it was that I was attracted to the things about, we were like the same major, and she was mature and cool, and the people I dealt with before weren't, the woman I was with before weren't as kind of cool as her, I guess. But I don't think I was trying to fix her, honestly, if that's what it is.
I don't
feel like
know.
she's trying to fix
I'm just trying to
me.
figure out. You're saying looking back, you feel like she pressured you into sex.
Yeah, because she was more, she had like hooked up with all sorts of people, and that wasn't something I was.
Yeah.
And that's the advice portion, is because lots of people know this thing about me. And it's like I kind of can't have a career in what I was in before, which I've kind of changed. Like, I don't want to be a teacher anymore anyways.
You can't have a
But it's
career
like
because
weird.
you're a known rapist.
Yeah, but well, that's the label that comes with it. And the people who spread it around, nobody ever asked what happened. Which bothers me, I guess. Because I realize now, like, out of all of my friends who kind of did that, I feel like they were pretty, I don't know. I just don't feel like I was a predator, and I feel like people look at me like I was predatory.
And now you're labeled as a predator.
Yeah, and I've had like a fine time now dating since then. It's just weird when it's like, because I'm still interacting and around people who think this about me, I guess I'm asking, what do you think, Mr. Girl?
Do I think you're a predator?
I don't know. What do you think I should do?
I don't think it has to be one or the other. It sounds like that. It sounds like due to mental health issues and alcohol, she is not able to make decisions or hold boundaries that she is comfortable with. And it's almost like she, it sounds like even when she's sober, she has some trouble deciding when or how to consent. Like she's just
Just
confused.
the communication.
Okay. But it also sounds like you also have trouble advocating for yourself and communicating. I mean, even having this conversation with you, I have felt like I have to force you onto certain topics, and I imagine that if this is how you were that first night when she's trying to sleep with you, I can imagine she might have had a similar reaction of like, I just have to make you do this, and like,
Yeah.
I'm a little taken aback by my own aggression toward you through in this conversation, where I'm just like, when you just fucking tell the story. I feel like if it was a sexual situation, I can see why somebody would be like, you just fucking like whatever, we're doing this. It's obviously really shitty for you to be labeled as a predator. There is something predatory about taking care of somebody who's drunk and then having sex with them the same night.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's abnormally predatory. Kind of going back to what I said before to the other caller, like, if you did that in your 30s, it would be really weird. But college, everybody's sharing rooms and houses and stuff, and it is predatory to some degree, but I don't think kicking out of school worthy. I just... It's just, I mean, the whole culture is stupid. Like, this is why I don't drink, and why I'm against alcohol. It doesn't make sense for a group of people to be like, we're going to incapacitate ourselves so that it's easier for us to fuck each other. But if we incapacitate ourselves too much, then it's rape, and then we get each other kicked out of the school. Like, just, to me, I'm like, well, then just don't do that. I don't understand. Like, I know people are so uncomfortable with sex that they need to be drunk to have it, and then the law says you can't have it if you're drunk. And then social law says both. So I don't think you're a predator. What do I think you should do? About what?
Oh, I don't know. No, what you said about the
What's the
alcohol,
problem?
That's why I used to not drink, was because of what you kind of said. We're similar in that way. I like being myself. The advice? I don't know, because like people know this thing about me. Do you know, move? You switch careers? How do you speak up for yourself when it's the mob mentality against you?
Moving would be easier. I'm sure it will follow you around though.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
So you're asking me how to talk about it with people
More I guess.
interpersonally.
It's more of a philosophical.
How to think about it?
Personality thing, because I went through like an identity crisis afterwards. Like I wanted to change my name because I was like so ashamed, separate myself from it. So I guess it's like, how do you reconcile with that in your personality, your identity specifically?
The shame you're saying resulting from other people thinking this about you, not you thinking it about yourself.
Yeah, it's like because now that I've moved on, and I feel like, of course, like the people involved, we both kind of just like, we wanted out of our lives, but it's hard when it keeps coming up in your face with like people you knew, who know that about it. Yeah, there's no legal charges. I'm reading the chat. They're really invested. It's scary.
Don't read the chat. I think your choices are, you can like write something or like make a statement and just say like, this is what happened. This is my stance. If you want to talk about it, read this. This is my official statement. If you think it's going to keep coming up, it might be worth doing that.
Right.
If you want to just avoid it and don't want to talk to people who think that about you, it's tricky because there's so much social and political pressure on people to believe her and take her stance. And there's no real social reason or political reason for anybody to stick their neck out and say like the school is not going to be like, well, she says that you did this, unethical, inappropriate thing, but that's college. Like they're not going to do that, even if that would be more like right of them to do.
Yeah, and I didn't go to the hearing. I think that's why I got.
You can't make this
I'm
go
not really-
away. Is that you're asking me if there's a way to make it go away?
No.
I would. So if it were me, I guess I would make an official statement, get it all out, get it really clean and clear, and then do not ever do anything to make it seem like you are trying to escape or defend yourself beyond that.
Yeah.
I just think
that's
it
what
makes
I've
it
always done.
it makes it look
yeah.
worse.
I see it. Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I also think you should go to therapy if you haven't.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was my therapist who was the first one who was like,
Okay, that's
she
good.
kind of took advantage of you, you know?
Yeah, your thoughts about this are very jumbled.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
think journaling or therapy or meditating or just things to help you organize yourself, because they are like it feels all over the place, like you're jumping around a lot.
I think that's the ADD and the like nerves, honestly, because it's just like I've yeah, this is
Yeah,
like
this isn't
really
a normal
happened a million
conversation for
times.
sure. Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that too.
But I appreciate it. All right.
Feels unresolved, but maybe that's just how it is.
Maybe. I guess that life.
It's your life right now.
Oh well, yeah.
I
that's
think
for
there
the rest
isn't a
of it.
solution to your problem. I think that's
Well, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Girl.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
You too. A 1,000 people judging you. No, we're gonna do one more. I'm waiting for the supercut of only Mr. Girl suggesting therapy. I know. But I have to. Make it an unenforced rule to not read chat while talking to me. Yeah, don't read chat. I'm not reading the chat, and if you read the chat, you're going to end up talking to the chat. That happens to me. Every time I look at the chat, no matter what conversation I'm having with anybody, the chat has a disturbingly large sway over my perception of what's happening and what I should say. So, I'm not going to do that. Did Mr. Girl plan to talk to Dr. K? I tried. He has to have noticed. I don't think he wants to talk. Yeah, well, I've given you your fucking attention. Okay. Baby. Last one. Hello. Hello. You're on the air.
This is absolutely terrifying.
Why?
Being in front of a lot of people,
Yeah.
and also talking to someone who I've thus far had a very one-sided relationship with
Right.
is very bizarre.
You suddenly exist to me.
Yeah, it's a very, very strange feeling.
Yeah. You need to take a second?
Um, yeah, I'm gonna, I'm gonna take a second.
Okay.
Okay, I think I'm good.
Okay. What's going on?
So my thing is kind of a confession, but I'm open to advice about it if you have any.
Okay.
Um, so I was going through some of your videos, and I watched your video with Shaylin about sex and how you had come to hate some of your sexual experiences, and I started to realize watching that video that I basically had the same experience where I um whenever I had sex with someone, it was never about me, and it was always entirely about the other person. And then I watched your video about being a people pleaser, and I realized that I vibed a lot with that as well.
Yeah, they're pretty
And
similar.
I kind of came to this realization that I I actually knew this about myself the whole time, and I had tried to rationalize and compartmentalize these elements of my life where I was doing things entirely for other people, and I had made excuses as to why it was okay that I did it in specific circumstances. Um, but there's a scary part to me about coming to that realization, which is that I also live entirely for other people and not for myself. And I don't know what to do with that.
You want to get out of it?
Um, kind of, yeah.
It's not that sustainable to live like that.
I
Especially
mean,
once you realize it's happening.
yeah, this is kind of the the realization I think I came to is like, because I've known for a while that that's how I've been living, but I kind of like rationalized it away as like, oh well, it's better that I'm like still about, and everyone always says like, oh, it doesn't matter like what reason you have to stay alive, like you should just do that. But at the same time, it's kind of like, yeah, but it's really, really shitty for my entire life to basically be owned by other people, like for their gratification, when I get nothing out of it.
Who owns your life?
Mm, Definitely my parents.
How old are you?
21.
What do they want?
And
What do they want you to do?
they just want me to stick around. I think it's
Like where live in the same place as them?
No, like they just want me to like be a happy, healthy, like human being, like what good parents would want for their child, I guess. But the problem is I feel like if I was to commit suicide because I'm not living for myself, I don't want to live for myself.
You don't want to live
Then
for yourself?
no, I don't get anything out of being alive.
Have you ever?
When I was really young, yeah.
How young?
Like probably up until about the age of 12, 13.
What happened?
I don't really know. I did go through a period of quite severe bullying, and then had to like I moved school. And that was sort of around the time when my life seemed to start not being as like nice anymore, but I don't know if that was actually the cause or what.
How did you handle talking about that with your parents?
Oh boy, it was. I handled it poorly. Um, I had self-harmed at one point. When I was like 13, I think, and I made the mistake of wearing a short sleeve t-shirt at one point, completely forgetting that my arm was completely fucked up, and my mum saw, and the conversation kind of had to happen then.
When you say you handled it poorly, what do you mean by that? What would have been the ideal way to handle it?
To have spoken about my feelings probably before it got to that point, because I think it was like a massive shock for my mum, especially like having to find out like that. It like must be really fucked up.
At what point do you think you should talk about your feelings to your loved ones? When they're bad, when they're bad feelings. At what point do you think it is appropriate to discuss them? Because it sounds like you're saying intellectually you understand that you should have talked about them, but it sounds like if you could go back in time and do it again, you probably would have just worn a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
So, why is there a disconnect where you know that you should be expressing yourself, and yet here we are again, before it's at that point, whatever that means. I mean, from my point of view, it's past that point, but there's another that point that we're dreading now, and you are again concealing your pain. Do you know why you're doing that?
You know the old adage of a problem shared is a problem halved? I have a different version of that, which is that a problem shared is a problem doubled. And that's kind of how I view sharing my problems with other people.
Can we use your mother as an example?
Yeah, sure. So, like, if I talk to her about
Your
the
feelings?
fact that the fact that I don't really want to be alive anymore, then what I've now done is taken that shitty thing that's concealed within my own brain, and I've now given it to my mum. So now she's worried about it as well, and it makes her distressed, and it makes her upset. And she's told me exactly what I'm about to say. She's told me that she worries that it was her fault, that it was her parenting that caused me to be like this.
And so any expression of pain or needing help on your part becomes an indictment that hurts her.
Yes, exactly. Or anyone else.
So you can't express your pain without causing more pain to your mother, which just makes you feel bad and want to hold in your pain even more.
Yeah, basically.
And you seem to have no sense that it would be possible for your relationship to be any different from this setup. It seems like you think this is the only way that this or any relationship can be.
Outside of like therapy, or potentially like this setup where the person is completely disconnected from me as a person or my issues, then yeah,
The only
I
way
did feel
someone
like that.
the only way someone can be connected to you, love you, or care about you is to take everything you say about yourself and then express their pain about how it reflects back on themselves. And then essentially ask you to caretake them by concealing your pain, while also chastising you for concealing your pain. Right? If you express yourself when you're 13, then you're hurting your mother. So you cut yourself instead. But if you cut yourself and you don't tell your mother, then you're hurting her because you're keeping it a secret. If you cut yourself and let her see with a short sleeve shirt, then you're hurting your mother because you cut yourself and then you let her see it. And if you commit suicide, then you're hurting your mother because you committed suicide. And if you don't, then you're hurting your mother because you're burdening her.
Yeah.
So it just seems like your view of intimacy and love is that no matter what you're doing, you are crushing other people and hurting them, and there's no way for you to exist that is okay with other people or comfortable for other people.
Yeah. And also, if someone else told me otherwise, I probably wouldn't believe them either.
Well, that's what's happening right now, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Okay, so whether or not you believe me, do we agree that your view of interpersonal relationships and the idea of getting support from other people or being able to connect with other people, your view is that other people cannot tolerate you being you. They cannot tolerate you having bad feelings.
Yeah.
And so the only way you can live in the world, given that, is to either be wounding people with your existence or bottling everything up, and both of those choices are miserable.
Yes.
And when I speak of this utopia where not everyone is actually like your mother, that there are people who do want to hear about your pain and even want to hear about pain that they've caused you, and that they are not going to collapse in front of you and kind of like emotionally self-harm, right? Like when your mother says, it's my fault that you cut yourself, in a way she's cutting herself right back in front of you. And when I speak of this utopia where maybe not everybody's like that, you don't believe it at all.
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth at least exploring the possibility that maybe not everybody is like that?
From my own perspective, I feel like I've already tried to explore it because I've tried exploring it with friends, and oftentimes they have, obviously not on the same level, but similar reactions of like, you know, it brings me down when you say this shit, and I'd
Mm-hmm.
prefer it if you didn't.
I think that if you create friendships in a people pleaser state, you are going to get people who also cannot tolerate, like, lots of people live the way you do. When I say not everybody is like that, I'm not like, you could spend your whole life, you could marry somebody who's like that, you could have friends who are like that, you could have extended family who's like that, you could have a boss who's like that, you could have coworkers. You can find people who don't want to hear about your feelings. They grow on fucking trees. Absolutely. And people who do want to hear about your feelings are a little harder to find. But I don't think you've been looking. Because the way to look involves kind of intentionally burdening people and having conflict with people and upsetting people, which you have a very low tolerance for. But if you could get better at it, you can see like you see me, I'll just like upset like 10,000 people at the same time, right? And like that's kind of an extreme version of it. But you can imagine if you had a stronger stomach for laying shit on people. If every person says a problem shared is a problem doubled, okay, fine, then move on to the next person. You don't need to be friends with that person for 5 years and then reveal to them like, hey, I've actually been having a hard time this whole time and I've been hiding it from you. Like you could get through a bunch of these people pretty quickly and find the problem shared as a problem halved. You could find those people. If they're out there, I think there's a more efficient way to look for them than standing on the edge of a cliff and wishing your mother were one of those people.
Yeah.
I think it's worth looking.
I think
Even if you don't believe you're going to find it, I think it's worth looking.
Yeah. I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. My trouble will be getting the stomach to do it.
You're going to run into trouble where approaching your life differently itself is going to be some kind of indictment of your mother, which I think you're very uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
Because you've described them as good parents. And
yeah,
but you're also saying that the way that she talks to you about your problems makes you never want to share them with her or anybody else and would make you rather die instead. And so all parents have flaws, but this particular like weakness is turning you into a pressure bomb. Because the worse you feel, the more you self-isolate, which makes you feel worse, which makes you self-isolate more, and you're never actually able to lean on anyone or cry on anyone's shoulder, because the moment you do, they make you feel bad, which just adds to your bad feelings. And so you're like, well, I'll just see how long I can get through my life without expressing anything to anybody before I want to die. And the answer is like 13 years. And then it seems like a lot of people at age 13, that's about the time. Like, it's weird to hear about a suicidal 8-year-old, because you're like, well, what, like, yeah, people have hard lives, but like, what the fuck are you sad about at 8? When you hear about a suicidal 13-year-old, you're like, well, yeah, that's about the time when your sensitivity and your complex understanding of all the terrible shit that you're seeing and what's happening to you builds up, and you need emotional support. And if you don't have it, it starts to get bad, and you start doing self-harm and bad shit to yourself. So obviously therapy. Are you in therapy?
I've been through various different therapists without a huge amount of luck. But I'll keep trying.
Therapy is... I understand your problem with therapy is going to be that you're going to feel like this person's only supporting me because I'm paying them. They don't actually give a shit. And you're going to think, I know they don't give a shit because they're not collapsing. Because you think if somebody actually cares about you, then they're going to be hurt by your pain so much that they can't stand it and don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, you're caught in this trap, but like, that's kind of delusional.
Mm-hmm.
Because I assume do you feel that way? Like, do you wish your friends would never tell you how they feel about anything?
In a weird sort of way, kind of, yeah.
Okay. So you don't like it when people express their feelings to you either?
It depends what mood I'm in, but generally, no, I don't like it either.
Okay. Well, that also makes sense, because your model for how to do that and what it's like and what happens when people do that has been like terrible. So I feel like it makes sense that you have just said, like, I won't bother anybody, nobody bother me, and I'm going to just be alone. And I understand that this is going to lead to suspicion with therapists, and even with me in this conversation, with anybody telling you, like, of course people want you to blah, blah, blah. You're going to just feel like it's not true.
Yeah.
I think that you can become less fragile, and that you can find other people who are less fragile. And I think therapy is a good way to do that. Even if you feel like they're only doing it because you're paying them and they don't really care, I still think that you can talk about that and make progress there. And I think that you can find people who are not like your mother and who are not even like you, who can help you change this. Like, do you live with your parents?
Kind of. I'm at university, so it's like, but yeah.
I would also like go abroad or something, or could travel. I don't know. I would. We've tried tiptoeing around your mother, and we see where that has led you. I would try something else. I don't know what, but I would change your life before you are even considering leaving it. And I'm not,
Okay.
and I don't think you should stay alive because it's going to hurt her feelings if you don't. And I don't think you should stay alive because it's going to hurt me or the audience's feelings. Like, part of you wants to live, and if that means that you have to be an inconvenience to other people and make them feel bad, then like, fine. That's part of life, is hurting other people. I just think that you've been taught that no one can tolerate you, and nobody wants to.
Yeah.
What do you
That's
think? I mean, I'm saying exactly what you thought I was going to say, right?
I think, yeah, kind of. I could have like written this conversation myself. Yeah.
So does that mean it's meaningless to you?
No.
Are you just reassuring me because you don't want me to collapse and say that your negative feedback to me is crushing me?
No. I am saying that because I respect your opinion because of having watched you and seen you talk to other people as well. I have like some greater respect for your opinion than some random therapist that I've just walked into the room with and is telling me this shit.
All empathy and all love is at the end of the day self-serving and selfish in some way. Any amount that I care about you always leads back to because of how I feel about it and how I feel about myself and my life or whatever. And any amount of any of how I care about Shaylin or my cats or whatever, anybody, any love I have is ultimately loops back to being about me.
Yeah.
And I think that's just obviously a fact. But I think there are different levels of complexity of empathy and love and care that leave much more room for other people to be able to be themselves. And to me, it's like it's such a flimsy like cushion that to the extent that it's not a cushion at all and it's not comforting at all to hear somebody say my love and care for you just turns into sorrow and pain the moment you are not a happy 8-year-old. And so I'm not saying that she doesn't love you or care about you and that other people do and that there's this difference between real love and fake love. I'm saying that I think there are people who are more resilient and who are willing to look at life and who are less fragile, who are willing to look at life in a more complex way and understand that being in pain and being mad at each other and being scared, like that this is all part of life and that it's not some abnormal thing that needs to be crushed or hidden away. And I think that if you can forge relationships with those people and become one of those people, there will just be much more room for you to breathe. It just seems like you're being choked by how restrictive and limited the like understanding and tolerances of your parents are.
Yeah. Okay.
I want you to let us, or make us, me and the audience, just live with that this is where you're at. And we don't know what you'll do with it. And we don't need to be reassured. You don't have to put a bow on the end of the conversation. I know that you probably want to, and I also want to, but I don't think we should.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's really weird. Because I absolutely do want to
I
put
know.
a bow on the end of the conversation.
But you don't have to. And you shouldn't.
Okay. All right then.
All right. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you for speaking to me.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay. That's all the callers for today. Why Mr. Girl sit like he's a doctor? How the fuck am I supposed to sit? I know that doctors have a little stool and they sit on the edge of the stool, and they're like that. I think. Don't they? How the fuck am I supposed to sit? How do I feel, Mr. Girl? I feel extremely burdened. No, I feel I don't know. I feel the weight of a I feel like I'm doing a good job, so I feel proud of myself, but I also feel like there's a lot of responsibility in the conversations I'm having and the number of people watching them. So I feel focused and a lot of other feelings that are popping up that I'm trying to pay attention to. But I think the pauses between callers are good. I might need to make them a little longer. Okay. I'm going to read the donations. Thank you for the praise, guys. I appreciate it. All right. We've got 2 donations. One is complaining about a mod. Oh, that was earlier today. I think this person messaged me anyway. Okay. I don't want to discuss internal mod issues, but you know, you gave me $10, so I'll say that somebody was complaining about somebody. And the second donation, Anonymous gave me $1. What you said about not censoring yourself and holding back, even if it ruins your relationships, really stuck with me. Thank you for the advice. Because of you, I came out as transgender and started hormones. I'm talking to a surgeon next week. Thanks, Mr. Girl. You're welcome. You do you. Be yourself, baby. uh... See, when you guys do these nuts jokes, you gotta step your game up. That's the good shit. Okay, I'm gonna respond to some chats. I feel like he has a lot of common philosophical stances. Yeah, I know that. I think I do. I don't think I think maybe my application or my willingness to say my stances or blurt them out at times that are uncomfortable is probably what's more unique than my stances themselves. Please refresh the donations. Okay. Refresh donations. Oh, we've got 2 donations. We've got $5 from Merc Schmitty. I know you don't want to self-promote, but in my opinion, there needs to be more awareness or perceived benefit for donations on this site specifically. Thoughts? I don't want to self-promote. You're right. You said you know that, and that's true. I guess if you want to pay me to self-promote, you can. If you want to. I don't know. And then $3 from Jimmy. Good stream, Max. Thanks, Jimmy. I feel like it went well as well. Gotta figure out how to get rid of these ads. I know, these ads are the worst. Ad block for Twitch. Don't you fucking dare. I'm not gonna self-promote, but if you start blocking these ads. Chatting with any more streamers soon? Yeah. I'm talking to Cherry tomorrow. Debating White Nationalist, I think is the title. Vince James on the Kill stream tomorrow, but I think I'm not going to stream that on Twitch because I don't want to get banned. And I think he's banned from Twitch, so I will debate him and probably film it and then upload it to YouTube. I may stream it to Mr. Girl Returns on YouTube, which is like the streaming YouTube channel. I'll upload it there or I'll stream it live. I'm not sure. I've never streamed on YouTube before, but so I might do that. Maybe they'll be the too hot for Twitch streams might be over there. Exensen and Bear Soul donated 20 and 10 subs combined too. Well, thank you. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. And then I'm talking to Lauren Southern on Tuesday. And I think I'm going to start a weekly interview show. I've been thinking. Oh, no, sorry. Talking to Lauren Southern on Wednesday. Wednesday at 6 Eastern. I think I'm going to start an interview show. Because what I'm noticing is I'm going on these people's streams. Like Booksmarts. And then Booksmart's running the show. And then I feel like part of what went wrong is that we're going into such murky waters and dark territory where I feel like it might make more sense for me to kind of pilot the ship for some of these conversations. And I also think people like watching me interview other people. So I'm not saying I'll still go fight with people or debate people sometimes or discuss things like on their terms. But I also think that it might go better for me. I don't want to just be a freak show where I go to people's streams and they poke and prod me and then I say weird shit and then they say, "Oh, that's the video," and everybody says like, "Oh, I've already seen this conversation before," but whatever. I don't. It feels repetitive and not that rewarding and a bit boring. So I think I'm going to start a weekly interview show, and I'll ask Lauren Southern if she wants to be she wants to be the first, that's going to be the pilot, if she's okay with that, or if she wants it to be more of a back and forth discussion, which I think it will be anyway. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking, and then people can come to me. People can apply to be interviewed. I don't know. I think that might be better. In regards to confessions, do you mind if multiple are brought to the table, or should we limit ourselves to one per convo? I've got a backlog. I mean, I think I'm going to try to find like a through line in whatever you say, so that there's like a thing I can respond with. If it's just going to be like, I feel like it won't be that meaningful or interesting. So if it goes on too long or isn't going anywhere, I'll either redirect you or stop you. Does Killstream stream live? I think so. You have to stream it live on YouTube. I will. I'm not going to stream it on the main channel, though. Careful with those guys. You need to know some weird talking points to not get rolled against a white nationalist. I don't think so. I think I'll be fine. In regards to confessions, do you mind if multiple are brought to... You already said that, and I already answered. In regards to... Wow. Okay, in regards to... I mind if you ask this question multiple times. Jesus Christ. Okay, originally I watched because it was a freak show, but you're becoming much more interesting than that. Yeah, that's the thing, is that, like, yes, I'm willing to say weird takes in weird situations, and I might have some strange ideas about stuff, but that's like a very small part of what I want to do, that might always be what I'm known for, but that's really not what's interesting or important to me. Why did you leave Judaism? I was never invited into it. My mother's not Jewish. I was not raised Jewish. My Jewish father was not raised Jewish, and my Jewish grandparents were not raised Jewish. There's no religious people in my family, really, like going back. So I was never really part of it. That person is known as a binder Andy, and he's going to bring up tons of random stats. Yeah, I might say, like, let's keep the stats out of it, or I'll just say, okay, whatever. I'll say, okay, given your stats, like, let's argue as if they're true, but I don't know if they're true. I don't know. Call Destiny, he is crying. Is that true? I mean, if Destiny, he's got my number. Yeah, I don't think he's crying. I don't believe you. Why are you saying that? I don't believe you. Refreshed. Oh, it's a meme. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Call Destiny. He says he misses you. Feels bad, man. He's actually crying. Don't fall for that. It's an old meme. Only time Destiny cries is when he does drugs. I believe that. Okay. Refreshing donations. Destiny isn't even live. Well, maybe I should. Maybe this is the perfect time to call him then. Okay, I got a $1 donation from Plush saying you're gay. Thank you. All right. Well, I think that's it. Thank you all for coming. Oh shit! Destiny has Ligma. What is that? What's Ligma? I'm worried. All right. Great show. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care. Yeah, I know. I'll fall for some more D's nuts jokes next time. Peace and love. Shake things up over at Stardust's channel. I want you to, don't be polite. Just come in there. Come in hot. All right. Bye, horses.